Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday. Today is an amazing day. I am blessed to be here. Very excited because I was able to talk to myself again while walking to from home to work. And that there is something power in that. There is something power in that. We definitely need to work on that every single day. Just like I've been saying, if we don't take a shower every single day, there is there there is a problem, right? There is a smell that's going to come out of that. So the same way, we need to make sure we are communicating ourselves to the person that we want to become as much as we can, cleaning out the old conversation that we always having. And we was just talking about this. Make sure you have a partner who's going to be crazy with you and who's going to who's going to be
Yes.
like when you recommend to them, there is a trash can beside us, and we are
Yes.
going to roll our negative thinking in that trash can and wrap the trash bag and then toss it out before we get on our recording. So you make sure you have a partner like that. I can imagine if somebody's going through this kind of journey by themselves, the ups and
Mhm.
downs that goes through, and it is a challenge to be able to want to accomplish something bigger, uh, something different than who you were. When you're trying to become somebody new, it is a challenge. So we have to make sure that we remind ourselves that we are trying to get to that new person, which is always in us. We just didn't bring it out to the outer surface. So today I am very grateful again to have you as my partner, to have my husband as my partner, or a workout partner, because it is very, very, very important to have those people accountable around you to cheer you up, to inspire you. I'm being inspired while I'm trying to help other people be inspired. So I just wanted to share that before we start our day, our conversation together. So now I will let you take it over.
Talk about being put on the spot.
And
Do
go
you want me
for
to share this
it. Yes.
now or wait? Okay. So, since we've been talking about visualization,
No, you can share now because yes.
we've been talking about visualization, and we have a guy in our mastermind group. Am I breaking up?
I hear you clearly.
Okay. Um, we have this guy in our mastermind group that wrote this book, Visualization to Realization. And it's wonderful. And there's this one section that I have got to share because it's all about our perspective and how we look at things and the difference that it makes. So if you'll give me just a minute, I want to read this section for us. It's called Story Time. Here is a short story to illustrate the importance of having faith. There was a business executive who was deep in debt and could see no way out. Creditors were closing in on him. Suppliers were demanding payment. He sat on the park bench, head in hands, wondering if anything could save his company from bankruptcy. Suddenly, an old man appeared before him. I can see that something is troubling you, he said. After listening to the executive's woes, the old man said, I believe I can help you. He asked the man for his name, wrote out a check, and pushed it into his hand, saying, take this money. Meet me here exactly 1 year from today, and you can pay me back at that time. Then he turned and disappeared as quickly as he had come. The business executive saw in his hand a check for $500,000, signed by John D. Rockefeller, then at that time was one of the world's richest men. He thought to himself, I can erase my money worries in an instant. But instead, the executive decided to put the uncashed check in his safe. Just knowing it was there might give him the strength to work out a way to save his business. With renewed optimism, he negotiated better deals and extended terms of payment. He closed several big sales. Within a few months, he was out of debt and making money once again. Exactly 1 year later, he returned to the park with the uncashed check. At the agreed upon time, the old man appeared. But just as the executive was about to hand him back the check and share his success story, a nurse came running up and grabbed the old man. "I'm so glad I caught him," she cried. "I hope he hasn't been bothering you. He's always escaping from the rest home and telling people he's John D. Rockefeller." And she led the old man away by the arm. The astonished executive just stood there stunned. All year long, he had been wheeling and dealing, buying and selling, convinced he had $500,000 behind him. I got chills everywhere. Suddenly, he realized that it wasn't the money, real or imagined, that had turned his life around. It was his newfound self-confidence that gave him the power to achieve anything he went after. Is that not just awesome? I mean, he was out there, falling apart. He was just thinking, "What am I going to do? What am I going to do?" And just the thought that he had that $500,000 check hid, he went out and he made deals that he wouldn't have made out of the fear of going bankrupt and all. So it's all about the way we think. Everything. Thank you, Lord, because I needed that. It's all about the way we think. Our answer is in our mind. And if we're thinking thoughts of doubt, thoughts of lack, then we're going to operate out of that. If he had not had that check, he would never have made those deals. But because he changed his thinking, he was able to be more successful probably than he ever was. And I just thank you for letting me share that. I just thought that was so powerful. Everything's about the way we think about it. This was more a mindset than it was a visualization, actual story, but everything is perspective and how we think. And I just think it's important to remind us of that. Just be careful. Throw your negative thoughts in that trash can. I'm going to be doing that more often. Throw them out.
You know how they throw the basketball? You know how they throw? Yeah, it's just I'm telling you, it's a game we have to keep playing, a shift that we have to keep shifting until we get it right. Because for me personally, I'm the same for you and anyone actually. If we dwelling on negative thoughts, it is not healthy. Literally, you can feel your body being tense. Literally, you can feel your hands being held from taking the action. And that's the glass that we need to break. That's the glass we need to break and be able to get to the next door. And everything we need is on the next door after we break that glass. But no one is standing in front of me or in front of you from stopping us to get to the next door. It's just us, the way we see ourselves, the way we think about our situation. Just like what you say, it is how we think that is holding us back. And that's why it is so important to listen every single day, every single moment, every single minute. What are we thinking about? For me, I'm to be honest. My thinking, because it is not pretty. I am constantly working on my thinking. It is not pretty, and that's not going to take me to the next level that I'm trying to get to. And what I'm doing right now is constantly plugging in. If I hear this noise, and it's the noise that needs to go in the trash bag and wrap up and throw away. And that noise, what I'm doing right now is that I'm listening to this affirmations while I'm working. Mm-hmm. Because it is, and it's going to interrupt that thinking. Now, you as you explained to us before, our thinking, that's the reason why we need to repeat and hearing over and over, because it will interrupt our thoughts. And so because of that, and today also I've been doing that. Another thing I would recommend is that for people to do when they are listening audiobook or audio lecture, take note. Take note if you are, able to take note, because that also help with the mind shifting, because our mind goes all over the place when we are listening something audio. So because of that, I found that very helpful, and I want to be able to recommend that to people. But we need to work on our thinking, because it is how we see things. It's really not the reality. It's just the way we see it.
That's right. That's right. And and also too, like you said, the more that we put in the good stuff, like I do the same thing. I'll listen to the meditations and different affirmations and stuff while I'm working or while I'm doing things. Of course, I listen to audiobooks and all. But when you're listening to those things, or at least having it playing in the background, your mind will focus more on the positive. Even if you're not able to hear every word or anything like that, I find that I don't have room for negative thoughts during those times.
Mm-hmm.
That way too, I mean, you're spending less time on negative thoughts, more time on positive thoughts. It's just everything is just so important in the process.
Yes. And you just make me think about this. When we are sitting down and actually thinking, that thought needs to be beautiful. If it is not, we still have work to do. And if we're not sitting down to actually take time to think while we're working, that thinking needs to be beautiful, powerful, because that's how we should be. That's how we are actually. So that's how, but we've been programmed wrong. So because of that, but if until that thinking is beautiful and powerful and amazing, because what we want inside of us is always growth. We've been talking about this. The subconscious mind is always about growth. So because of that, we need to be able to, when we're listening ourselves, if it is not beautiful, we still have work to do. We need to get a bigger bag for trash to be able to put it in there. I think I love that. I'm going to keep that on my visualization when a negative thought comes about. And if you want us to actually stitch up, we are on the idea worth recalling it. That's the last page. And on number 1, mental coherence or too much effort shows an anxiety and fear which block your answer. Easy does it. When your mind is relaxed and you accept, easy does it, I'm sorry. Number 2, when your mind is relaxed and you accept an idea, your subconscious goes to work to execute the idea. Think and plan independently of traditional methods. Know that there is always an answer and solution to every problem. Do not be overly concerned with the beating of your heart, with the breathing of your lungs, or the function of any part of your anatomy. Lean heavily upon your subconscious mind, and proclaim frequently that divine right action is taking place. So number 4, actually, we don't even concern ourselves. This is something we just naturally think it was supposed to happen. The only time we actually stop and think is when we get sick.
Yeah.
But we never take time to say, how is this my body, how am I breathing? And which is, as you know, breathing is so important. We never take time to think like, how is my breathing?
Do you know what? Well, I've told you before how sometimes my car will end up, or I might drive through a city and I don't even remember, did I already go through there? And it's amazing what we do without thinking, because our subconscious is trained. And typing, for instance, it amazes me. If I think about what I'm doing when I'm typing, I always mess up. But if I don't think about it, man, I'll just go along, you know. The
That's true.
subconscious is amazing.
But so I'm glad you point that out, because what we're trying to get to is with our positive thinking, just like that, automatic. So our
Yeah.
thinking, our automatic response is going to be, but everything's trained, requires training, just like how we learn how to drive a car. In the beginning, we're struggling and all that. And then later on, we just do it, just like you say, without even thinking about it. So I am trying, I look forward to get to that level with my positive thinking. Number 5, the feeling of health produces health. The feeling of wealth produces wealth. How do you feel? Is he asked. And number 6, imagination is your most powerful faculty. Imagine what is lovely of good report. You are what you imagine yourself to be. And the last one, 7, you avoid conflict between your conscious and subconscious in a sleepy state. Imagine the fulfillment of your desire over and over again prior to sleep. Sleep in peace and wake in joy. Oh, that's beautiful. And that's the other thing we need to ask ourselves when we wake up in the morning. What is the feeling? Because that tells us what we've been thinking in the previous day. That tells us what is in our recording. So I trust everybody will benefit out of our conversation today. And thank you very much again for you showing up and being able to do this with me. We are transforming a lot of people all over the place, as all over the world, as you are transforming me, and also, by God helping us to do this together. So, so I'm excited. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.